There's always a chance that China and the US will meet halfway when we're talking about any kind of a negotiation. But the reality, it comes back to how does one define the starting points? Where is halfway? So no matter what happens or how long it takes with regards to the specific trade negotiations, this tit-for-tat tariffs, the reality is that tensions will remain. The problems that the US and China are dealing with today didn't begin overnight, and they certainly aren't going to be solved overnight. So I think we can very well expect tensions to continue. But at the end of the day, my hope is that both China and the US will recognize that a deal will be to the benefit of both nations if and only if it leads to a more sustainable and balanced trading relationship. And that's probably a lesson that China has to take more to heart than the United States. The Trump administration has certainly brought disruption to diplomacy. Now the question is, what will be the results if we look at individual bilateral relationships like between the United States and China, or we look at these broader, bigger international organizations and bigger, broader institutions and challenges that the United States has long been involved with. So when we think about international institutions, very clearly President Trump is also bringing his disruptive style to some of these organizations. We see this, for example, with regards to the United Nations, with regards to the World Trade Organization, with regards to many of these multilateral bodies that have existed really for decades. But when I think about the disruption that President Trump has brought, it could lead, again, to a much better and more sustainable international community. But it's really going to take give and take by all sides. In times of uncertainty, there's also times of tremendous opportunity. People that know me always think of me as the optimist. And in many ways I am, but I'm also very realistic when I look at the Southeast Asian region, when I look at ASEAN. So we look at all these times of tensions. Certainly the reality is that there will be winners and losers. We can look at it at the macro level. Some people are saying that Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, some of the larger nations of Southeast Asia will benefit. But then we look at the micro, at the individual level, the individual company or individual person level, there will again be those who will do better off, those will do worse off, and to be honest, somewhere they're really indifferent to what's going on in the region. I think we also need to think about ASEAN as an institution and how it also continues to need to evolve. In many ways, China has disrupted ASEAN through its investment and involvement in a place like Cambodia. In the last couple of years, we've seen ASEAN unable to have a joint communique on important and critical issues to this region, like the South China Sea, because Cambodia, perhaps doing China's bidding, blocked a communique on these very critical and important issues. So ASEAN itself needs to continue to evolve if it really is going to help drive prosperity and really better solutions for the region. And my hope also is that ASEAN will continue to grow. And a very specific next addition would be Asia's newest nation, the nation of Timor-Leste. It will be to the betterment of ASEAN and to the betterment very clearly of Timor-Leste if Timor-Leste is able to accede to this association of Southeast Asian nations.